Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the AB Report. If you're a libtard, you can see your way out of this conversation. You know, as of late, there have been a lot of disturbing things that have been taking place domestically as well as internationally. And sometimes we are distracted from some of the things that are persistently, how shall I say, causing major problems throughout society and that are kind of like kept under the radar. Because most people just are completely unaware of what's going on. More and more people are becoming more aware of those things. And one of those things happens to be the filth and the garbage and the debauchery that is present in public schools and is being taught to children from kindergarten up through 12th grade. But it's especially disturbing when you see certain things thrust into the hearts and minds of small children, because that is when they're that young, that's when they are absorbing the most. You know, those are the developmental years. And it influences them a lot from that time and throughout the rest of their lives. And they become conditioned to what they are observing and what they are absorbing. That brings me to this story out of Texas that I found just so disturbing and so outrageous. And it involved a parent confronting the school board. Now, the parent wasn't out of line. The parent stood up and did what a lot of parents and a lot of citizens need to be doing nowadays. She stood up and said, "No, this is unacceptable." There is a book that was required reading for her son's class that he brought home to her, and she decided to look through the book and to see what was in it. The book had an innocent enough sounding name. It was called Lawn Boy. Lawn Boy. Just doesn't sound harmful, doesn't sound threatening or anything like that. But I'd like to read you an excerpt from this book. Now, there's going to be some foul language here, so I just want to give you a heads up on that. Because the book contains some foul language. Now, this is a book that's required reading for a child in elementary school. And this is the excerpt. What if I told you I touched another guy's dick? What if I told you I sucked it? I was 10 years old, but it's true. I put Doug Gottlieb's dick in my mouth. I was in 4th grade. It was no big deal. He sucked mine too, and you know what? It wasn't terrible. I felt rather disgusted just reading that out loud. It's disturbing enough to read read it just to yourself, but to read it out loud, it makes me feel disgusting. It's so vulgar. And this is going on all across the country. If you're a parent and you're not paying attention to what your child is being taught in school, you have dropped the ball. Because they're being indoctrinated with the most vulgar and the most sick ideas you could imagine. My child rearing days are well behind me. Well behind me. But I do have nephews and little cousins that are school aged. And I talked to some of my family members about, keeping an eye out on what their kids are being taught in school. Some of them, they're just kind of casual about it. Oh, yeah, whatever. And some are very alarmed when I bring these things to their attention. If you're a parent and you have a kid in public school, and even a lot of private schools nowadays, you should be alarmed, and you should be alert, and you should be vigilant. You should be on guard, because these monsters, these pedophiles, are out there and they are after your kids. And a lot of it is going under the radar. I guarantee that you never heard of this book called Lawn Boy. It was written by a guy named Jonathan Evison. And I looked up this book online just to, see what kind of information I could find out about it. And there were glowing reviews from the New York Times, even the New York Post, and over a dozen other publications. And I was shocked. There wasn't anything that warned of the filth that's in this book. Nothing. It's enough to make you want to throw up. Sometimes I just shake my head, and I'm glad that I don't have any kids in public school at this point in time. Moving on. Around the country, there's a new trend that has become very popular at sporting events, at football games, at public gatherings, and it is the Joe Biden cheer. No, it's not hip hip hooray. It's not go Joe. It's not, hey Joe, we love you. It is, if you haven't heard, fuck Joe Biden. Everywhere. Baseball games, football games. People are lining the streets whenever he's coming to towns across the country even in deep blue Democrat states and cities, and they're greeting him with "Fuck you, Joe Biden." They have banners with "Fuck Joe Biden" on them, and it gives me a little hope that, you know, things will get turned around. You know, I'm sure his people are like kind of shielding him from it, and he doesn't really understand or know the extent to which people just literally hate him now because of what took place in Afghanistan, and then what took place on last Thursday when he announced that he's going to force people or attempt to force people to take to get the jab. A lot of people are not too happy with that. A lot of people still believe in freedom and freedom of choice and autonomy over one's own body, sovereignty of oneself. And when someone goes over the line as he has, there's going to be pushback, and there is massive pushback across the country. And he's starting to take notice of it, because I saw an audio clip, or actually it was a video clip, of him talking to one of his handlers, and he just seemed kind of confused and a little bit like annoyed, and he was saying that, you know, I don't understand why you know, why people gotta have these signs up saying F so and so. Oh no, mofo, it's not so and so, it's you. It's fuck you. It's fuck Joe Biden. Because that's just how people feel. And the downside of that is that I believe that once he is really aware of what's going on, you know, to the extent that he'll remember it, or during the time he'll remember, when he gets pumped up on whatever they're giving him, Adderall or what have you, maybe even a little coke or a little crack from Hunter, that he's going to become angry and more vengeful and more vindictive, and he's going to be trying to find ways to take out that anger on the American people. Yeah, I'm sure his handlers are feeling that way, and they are probably coming up with ways to try to, you know, put more pressure on the American people. You know, but it sometimes, you know, things can seem hopeful, and I hope that come 2022, when the congressional elections come back around, that, you know, the country still keeps that same energy and gets to the polls and demonstrates to Joe Biden that they're just not having it. They're just not having it. Well, and on we go.